This next stretch we're going to demonstrate is called the inner thigh stretch. The emphasis on this stretch is going to be to the inside of the thigh. Now, to perform this stretch correctly, everyone will take a nice wide stance. Now, all of you probably just did what I did in the demonstration. I went ahead and I stood in one straight line. By doing so, I've compromised my stability in this position. So what I'll have you do is take one leg and place it just upwards or in front of its rear leg. I like to think of yourself forming a rectangle. So what I'll do is take my right leg and step forward. Imagine a straight line, whereas my right heel is going to be placed upon that line and my left toe will be placed on that line. This increases my balance and increases my stability. Now I'm going to go ahead and place my hands on my hips. The reason why I'm doing this is because if I don't, I notice that I will revert back to that straight line position when I stretch. So hands on your hips. Now the first part of this stretch, I'm going to pivot at the hips, just like we did with the chest stretch. The pivot at the hips will allow myself to be able to squat into that downward position and slide up on to my right knee. So everybody, now let's first pivot at the hips and now sink down into a squat position and float over to where your knee rests upon your ankle. Now it's important to keep in mind when you're doing this stretch, foot position and knee position. When you're first moving into the stretch, you're going to want to angle your forward foot to the outside rather. That's going to allow the knee to travel a little bit more freely than it would if you had it locked into that fixed forward position. Also, the end point of this stretch will have your forward knee directly upon your ankle. Those of you who have taken too wide of a stance will have your knee bowing to the inside of your ankle, which will place an increased stress to the inside of your knee. Those of you who have taken too short or narrow of a stance will now have the knee that's going over the toes or to the outside of the ankle. This will also place an additional stress on the knee. So you will have to play around with your stance in order to find the stance or the width of the stance that's right for you. Just make sure at the end of the stretch, your knee is coming directly above your ankle. The end part of this stretch is going to have you extend your forward knee and step forward out of the stretch.